Hey, Michelle. It's been a while. Do you remember that guy I was telling you about at the office Christmas party? We've decided to get married. We're thinking of having the wedding in 6 months' time. I would love it if you could come. Hey, Kate. I haven't heard from you in ages. So, you decided to get married then? I can't believe you're getting married before me. Trust me, I'm surprised too. Also, I can't believe you're not marrying Mr. Four Eyes from college. No, you've only gone and bagged yourself a hotshot employee from a huge trading company. You're so sly, going ahead and getting married before me. Was it supposed to be a competition? We just happened to meet through work. I thought for the longest time you'd end up living a simple life with Mr. Four Eyes. Are you talking about Chris, the guy who was in the same dorm as us back in college? He had to move away for work. We both agreed that a long-distance relationship wouldn't work out, so we decided to end things. He didn't even turn up at our reunion. I don't know what he's doing or where he is at this point. And now you're engaged to a great catch who just so happens to work at a massive trading company. I want to marry him too. I remember that photo of him you showed me at the Christmas party. He is definitely easy on the eyes. Life is so unfair. All I want is to get married to some rich and powerful man, quit my job, and become a housewife. That's why you want to get married? Marriage is important. Women find happiness by getting married and enjoying a life of leisure at home. I think you'd be pretty busy if you were a housewife. Besides, don't you have a boyfriend? Yep. I have 7 of them, in fact. 7? 1 for each day of the week. I see one guy on Mondays, another guy on Tuesdays, the third guy on Wednesdays. You get the point. You can't be serious. You're dating 7 guys at the same time? Do your boyfriends know about this? You don't need to worry about that. I know what I'm doing. Do you think I'm stupid enough to get caught? I'm just doing what I need to find a man who is also marriage material. That's all. I'm going to choose whoever I think will make me the happiest if I marry them. This whole situation is way out of my moral comfort zone, so I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear any of it. When did you say you were getting married again? In 6 months? Yeah, 6 months. Okay, so I just need to get married within 6 months then. What do you mean? Then I'll be able to go to your wedding as a married woman. Okay, sure. Anyway, should I send you an invite? Sure, send it over. You're inviting everyone from college, right? Yeah, I'm planning on sending invites to the usual group. That's why I messaged you all of a sudden. You know my address, right? It's the same place I sent last year's Christmas card, right? That's the one. Then I've already got your address. As soon as the invites are ready, I'll send one out to you. Sure.
Kate, I need to talk to you about something.
What's wrong? I've just finished work and I'm on my way home. Can we talk when I get back?
I'd appreciate it if we could talk now.
Do you want to talk over the phone?
I'm not sure I can say what I need to say to you over the phone. So I'd prefer if we talked via text.
Did something happen?
It's over.
What? I'm sorry, what do you mean?
I meant exactly what I just said. I don't think I can go through with the wedding.
Why not?
You know how people usually feel a little down before they get married? Well, I've been having a lot of doubts recently and feeling stressed at the thought of getting married.
Are you getting cold feet?
Look, I've been struggling with this for the past month. And I've had a lot of time to think things over. I'm not sure if it's right to get married when this is how I'm feeling. And I think that the fact that I'm feeling like this is a sign that I'm not ready. I think this was a mistake.
A mistake? But you were the one who proposed to me. Also, we've already planned the whole wedding. I've already sent out the invites to all our friends and family.
Look, you were the one who said you wanted the whole wedding shebang.
Yeah, but...
I told you I didn't want a wedding, but you insisted on having one. And you kept saying that you wanted one no matter what.
You do realize that the doctor told my mom that she doesn't have much longer, right? All I wanted was to have her at my wedding.
But what's that got to do with me? I don't like standing in front of large crowds. And I don't like spending money on expensive things.
Okay, but that's why I said that I'd cover all of the wedding costs. Then you agreed and we moved on. So why are you bringing that up now?
I don't want to marry you. I don't want to continue this relationship. And I don't want to spend the amount of time and money that goes into a wedding on you.
Is that really how you feel?
It is, which is why I want to end this now. Honestly, I took a day off work today so I could pack up all my stuff. I'm moving out.
Hold on a minute. This is all way too sudden. Can we at least talk about this face to face?
I've already thought long and hard about this, and I know this is what I want. I need you to accept that.
You need me to accept it? There are two of us in this relationship. So why have you decided you're leaving without even so much as talking to me first? It's not like I'm just going to say, sure, let's break up, that's a great idea, is it? You do know that we have a cake tasting session set up for tomorrow, right?
We can't have a wedding with things the way they are right now.
Even if you do want to end things, we need to discuss it first.
I don't need to discuss anything with you. I'm leaving you.
Are you serious? You're really going to break up with me over text?
Don't message me anymore. I'm blocking your number so I can start over. Don't turn up at my office or try to call me at work. If you do, I'll be taking legal action against you. As you know, I work at a well-connected company. That means I know a talented lawyer or two. If you try anything, I'll have one of them file a restraining order against you or have you fined for stalking.
You can't be serious. Why do you get to decide everything without even a word to me?
You can't blame anyone but yourself for being the reason I got cold feet in the first place. You just wouldn't stop bugging me about having a wedding. You made me feel trapped. In all honesty, I wanted to sue you for damages to my mental health. But I think I'll keep that as a last resort. You should feel grateful that I've decided not to take this to court.
If this is about the wedding, you were the one who agreed to it. Sean? Are you serious? Sean! Hey, Kate, I heard the engagement broke off. Is it true? How did you find out? I haven't told anyone about it yet. It doesn't matter how I found out. What's happening with the wedding? I haven't really thought about it yet, but... I'm sorry, but I'm still trying to sort through my feelings. So I don't really feel like messaging anyone. I'll message you when I've had time to think things through. Why don't you give all your wedding reservations to me instead of canceling? What do you mean by that? I'm getting married! As you know, I only work part-time, so I don't make much money. And although my fiancé has a nice job at a rather well-known trading company, he doesn't want to spend money on a wedding. So we don't have much money to spare. That's why I was thinking, if you're going to just cancel all your reservations anyway, why not just give them to me? Hold on, I'm so confused right now. Don't you think it's wasteful to cancel a $35,000 wedding? How about I do you a favor and get married at the venue you chose, so you don't have to cancel the whole thing? You'd have to cover the wedding, of course. To be fair, though, you were supposed to pay for the whole thing from the start anyway, right? What's the difference if I use the venue instead? Sorry, just wait a second here. How did you know how much the wedding was supposed to cost? And how did you know that I was the one paying for it? You said you were marrying some guy from a well-known trading company who didn't want to spend money on a wedding. Oh, so the other shoe finally dropped, did it? Yep, it's exactly what you think. I'm engaged to your ex-fiancé. You can't be serious. Are you talking about Sean? We only broke our engagement off yesterday. How could you be engaged already? Someone seems a little confused. Don't worry, I'll clear things up for you. The truth is, Sean and I are soulmates. Soulmates? Do you remember how you told me all about your wedding plans? Well, the day after that, I waited outside Sean's office, mostly out of curiosity. You waited outside his office? Don't you remember? You showed me his picture. So I knew who he was right away. Then I thought to myself, why not try talking to him? After that, we hit it off right away. And so, we started dating. What do you mean by dating? I only meant to get a look at him at first, you know? I didn't even know if I'd be able to meet him waiting outside his office. But I guess I was lucky, because he came out soon after I arrived. It must have been fate. But what happened to your 7 boyfriends? Honey, you could combine all 7 of my boyfriends and they still wouldn't be able to hold a candle against Sean. Not only does he work at a huge trading company, but he's not bad looking either. I have no complaints. After weighing it all up, I decided he was the only man for me. After that, it was just about getting him to feel the same way about me and then asking him to leave you for me. It looks like I get the man and the dream wedding. So you're telling me that the 2 of you were having an affair with each other behind my back? It all makes sense now. Sean never told me the real reason he couldn't get married. He just decided suddenly he wanted to end things. So he left me because he was cheating on me with you? Well, what else did you expect? If you really cared about Sean, you would be happy that he's marrying me. Why the hell would I be happy about the 2 of you getting together at my expense? Today, we were supposed to go to a cake tasting session. You do know that we were prepared for a wedding, right? We'd already decided where we were going for our honeymoon and started talking about buying a house together. And then he just suddenly decides it was over without even talking to me once? How can you expect me to just sit by while you marry the man I was supposed to spend my life with? And I'm sorry about that, but he chose to marry me. Not you. Besides, he already told you he didn't want to have a wedding, but you wouldn't let it go, would you? He said he didn't want to waste money on a wedding where he'd be forced to stand in front of a crowd of people. But what has that got to do with anything? Well, he just agreed to have a wedding for me. What? He agreed to that? Yep. He said that since I was the woman he was marrying, it was worth it. You'll have to cover all of the wedding costs as agreed, of course. You know, when Sean proposed to me, he promised me the wedding of my dreams. Sean, the most anti-wedding person I know, promised you that? Yep. This just goes to show that getting married to you wasn't as much of a priority as getting married to me is. In other words, the way he felt about you is nothing compared to how he feels towards me. All of this is just proof that he loves me more than he ever loved you. I have never seen someone so audacious they'd ask someone else to plan and pay for their wedding. Why would you think that I would even consider doing that for you after everything you've said? Sure, but the groom is still Sean, so what's the problem? Plus, there are still 3 months left until the big day. If you start now, there's still time to make the changes since I'm the bride now. That's not the issue here. Everything is in Sean's name or my name. You realize we've even sent out invites with our names on them, right? It's not that big a deal, so who cares? Also, I spoke to Sean earlier. He said you only invited a few friends and relatives as well as a couple of people from work. That's all, right?
Yeah, but...
Well, we share a lot of the same friends. So all I need to do is just cancel the invites to your relatives and colleagues. Then I can invite my relatives and a few more friends instead, and we'll be able to meet the minimum guest counts. The invites are quite simple to do, so I can send those out by myself. We don't want to trouble you too much now, do we? All we're asking is that you cover the wedding.
I'm not doing that. Also, if you're seeing Sean soon, tell him to reply to my messages. Let's all sit down and talk about this properly. We can talk about what to do from here on out. The wedding, everything.
Sean said he doesn't want to see you again. Whatever was going on between you and Sean is over. He's not your fiancé anymore. He is mine. You need to get over it already.
Are you serious right now?
Look, I'm sorry you had your heart broken. But we need you to pay for the wedding, so... It all worked out in the end. Now I'll be married before you. This is justice being served for you trying to get ahead of me. Ha! How does it feel? You know what? At this point, it's probably just best for you to stay quiet and listen to what this winner has to say. Hey, Kate! It's been a while. This is it. The day of my amazing $35,000 dream wedding to my amazing dream fiancé. Ready to pay? Thanks for putting the bill, by the way.
The wedding is already over.
Excuse me? What are you talking about? The wedding is today.
Oh, so you are getting married today then. Congrats.
Why are you so cheerful? You do realize that you're the one who's paying for it, right?
Why would I pay for a wedding that has nothing to do with me? Besides, the wedding is already done and paid for.
What do you mean the wedding is done? You don't even have a groom. Did you throw a wedding party for yourself? That's so sad. I honestly pity you right now.
I had a groom, but okay. In fact, I think you already know him quite well.
What do you mean? Someone I know quite well? What are you talking about?
The truth is, the day after Sean left me, I went to the venue by myself. I thought that since we had already booked everything, it was best to go and tell them that the wedding was canceled.
You can't cancel it, because you said you'd give the reservation to us.
Can you just listen for a second? I met him at the venue, and it was like fate. I'd say it was even more of a chance meeting than you and Sean.
A chance meeting?
I'd heard that the manager of the venue was quite eccentric. But it turns out that eccentric man was the son of the president of a large bridal company. He had been traveling around the world, learning about weddings from different countries. After that, he came back and started working as the manager of the biggest wedding venue in the country.
Okay, and what's that got to do with me?
Well, it turns out that the manager of the venue was Chris.
Chris? Chris? You mean Four Eyes Chris? From college? That super boring guy you used to date?
Yep, that's the one. Although he uses contacts now, so he doesn't wear glasses anymore.
Hold on a minute. Who is that? Don't tell me that Chris turned into that hunk. Why is this turning into the plot of some Hollywood film?
Yep, that's the same Chris from college. Honestly, I thought the exact same thing as you. I couldn't help but laugh when I thought how much it seemed like a schmaltzy romance plot.
Except I'm not laughing over here. There's no way that's Chris. So you're telling me that not only is that four-eyed nerd rich, but he's hot now too?
We only broke up in the first place because he was going overseas.
I told him everything after we reconnected at the venue. After I told him what happened, he told me not to cancel the wedding, just to change the date. And then he said I should marry him instead and suddenly proposed. I was surprised, of course, but I said yes. That can't be true. When we spoke, the venue had just had a cancellation for last week. So, about a week ago, we made the most of all my wedding planning and decided to tie the knot. Wait a minute. Then what about my wedding? You're talking about the wedding you and Sean planned yourselves, right? No, we were supposed to use the wedding you had planned for you and Sean. Do you hear yourself? I moved my wedding to another date. Didn't you guys reserve the venue for the date of the original wedding? That's not how it was supposed to go. That's usually how it goes. Let me get this straight. You expected me to just hand all the time and money I'd put into planning my wedding over to you? Did you really think I'd do that? Of course! You were the one who was supposed to pay for the whole wedding. I don't remember ever promising to do that. You didn't need to promise me you'd do it, because I told you to do it. That's why I called you and asked to talk so we could clear things up. You two were the ones who decided to ignore all my calls. Just to be clear, you're saying that the wedding you planned already took place a week ago? And we've only reserved the venue. I don't know what you guys did, but I'm guessing the venue is all you've booked. All I did was go to the venue, tell them I wanted to get married on the date you chose, and pick out my dress. The only thing I chose for myself was the dress, and that was only because I knew the dress you chose would be awful. Did you sign the contract? You mean the one I signed to change the bride's name from yours to mine? When you went to go sign the contract, didn't you listen to the explanation they gave you properly? I was too busy thinking about what kind of ceremony I wanted to have. What about Sean? Sean said that weddings were a woman's job, so he left everything to me. He hasn't taken part in anything to do with the wedding except the suit fitting. Speaking of which, I kept seeing this really good-looking employee at the venue, and he kept looking at me. Was that Chris? Probably. I've told him everything. Seriously? I wanted to talk to him because he was super hot. But Sean was there, so I decided not to even try. Plus, he was working at the venue, so I thought there was no way he earned much. I can't believe it. I went for the employee of a random trading company when I could have gotten myself a hot man from a wealthy family. I mean, sure, Sean works for a large trading company now, but I'm pretty sure he's up for a demotion. Excuse me? What? What do you mean by that? Didn't he tell you? He's being sent to a remote office belonging to a subsidiary of the trading company he works at. He didn't tell me anything. Why would he tell you this? What's going to happen to his salary? I don't know, but I'm sure he's facing a salary cut too. I mean, it is a small office in the middle of nowhere, to be fair. How do you know all of this? Because I told Sean's boss all about the two of you and what the both of you did to me. So you're saying that Sean's being demoted all because of a little affair and a broken engagement? But that's his private life. I think it was the catalyst rather than the reason for his demotion. He was always a huge cheapskate from the start. He kept stealing the company's equipment and any free samples he could get his hands on. Apparently, he would take the stuff he stole home and sell it all online. The company obviously had a problem with that. That can't be true. The last straw, however, was when Sean's company was supposed to do business with the son of the president of a major bridal company. The son told them that he didn't want to work with a company that would employ someone with so little integrity. Sean had become a thorn in their sides, so the company decided to investigate him and he was demoted as a result. You said the son of the president of a major bridal company? Are you talking about Chris? Being able to draw in business is important for a large company, you know? Also, Sean's boss really hates crooks and liars. He looked angrier when he found out what Sean had done than I did when I found out myself. Sean works at a big company, so there are several talented lawyers around. Luckily for me, Sean's boss told me he'd introduce me to one of them. A lawyer? Of course. The reason Sean broke off my engagement to him was that he was cheating on me with you. I think I'm more than owed a bit of money in damages, don't you agree? Now, just wait a minute. It's too late to come asking for damages. What? You really thought I wouldn't come looking for dues? I'll see to it that the two of you take full responsibility for your actions. That's not fair! This has all swung way too far in your favor. You're right, it has. But that's because I chose not to settle for a cheapskate. Instead, I married a faithful man who comes from a good family. I told my husband that Sean worked at the company his company was partnered with. Thanks to that, he couldn't help but speak with his business partners, and Sean was sanctioned by his boss as a result. His boss even went as far as to introduce me to a few good lawyers. You never know how life will turn out, huh? Is Sean really that stingy? I mean, he tried to make me cover the entire wedding cost. Not only that, but he wanted my side of the family to cover the expenses for all the wedding guests, including their travel expenses. I think just that alone makes him one of the stingiest people I have ever met. Haven't you noticed any red flags? I mean, I knew that you were covering all of our wedding costs, so I never thought about it. I have no obligation to pay for your wedding, so why would I? Love really does make you blind, huh? Though I'm sure you can imagine the kind of life you'd have if you decided to marry that cheapskate. After the doctor told us my mom only had a few more months to live, I only agreed to marry him out of fear that my mom wouldn't get to see me married. But then you took him off my hands for me. So, thank you for that. Truly. That doesn't make me feel any better! I can't afford to pay for the wedding by myself. I was expecting you to pay for everything. I was even going to calculate the costs of the deposits I had already put down and make you pay for them. Not to mention all the travel expenses I already paid for. Kate, you have to cover my wedding! I already told you before that I'm not paying for something I have no obligation to pay. Oops, sorry. It's almost time for boarding. Boarding? I'm just about to go on my honeymoon. My well-traveled husband and I are going on a trip around Europe. Usually the thought of leaving the country for the first time would terrify me, but since Chris has already been abroad so many times, I'm not worried. Wait, the conversation isn't over. What about my wedding? I'll be leaving my lawyer in charge while I'm away. So if you want to discuss anything to do with money or the damages you owe me, take it up with him. We're going by first class for my first trip abroad. I'm so excited I might pass out. This isn't fair! Well then, enjoy your wedding day. The food at my husband's wedding venue is delicious, so you'll have an amazing time. Have a good life. No, wait. Just hold on a second, Kate. I was expecting you to pay for my wedding, so I added a bunch of extras. Kate? Please, I'm begging you. Help me fix this. We're supposed to be friends. It seems those two decided to get married in the end, although none of our mutual friends showed up. And not only did none of Sean's colleagues turn up either, but he was slapped with a huge bill after the wedding. Worse than that, he was ordered to pay damages to me for breaking off our engagement and fell into debt to pay the fine. Currently, it seems like the two of them are living an extremely frugal lifestyle out in the country. Apparently, Michelle and Sean, the world's stingiest man, have the same fights about money every day, which only means that it doesn't look like long before one of them asks for a divorce.